Hi, everybody. I know it's been a week, a little over a week since I've been here. I'm super excited to be back with so much energy. I took an amazing break. I heard that some of you in the community also took really beautiful breaks. And I'm excited to jump into today's topic because, as I've been mentioning over the last couple of lives, if you remember them at all, um, we are in a very interesting month. Let me actually start TikTok. So we are in a very interesting month. We are in October. The veil is thin. Energy is moving, but in a very unique way. So if you are wanting to bridge the gap with your ancestors and your guides and connect with spirit, October is a month to do that. It's also time to fill your cup, to lean into that energy of restoration. I was sharing in a short audio message about this on the Discord group. So if you haven't checked it out, be sure to go over to the Discord group. It's also going to be in the description. It's also going to be in the description. It's called 144 group. So you can go and join and listen to it for today's little reminder and just talk about energy. But November, December, and January are also Thin is on the 22nd. Hi, Fluffy Pancake. I love that name. Thin is on the 22nd. Oh my goodness. Also, I forgot to mention Happy Diwali to everybody as well. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I am live on a couple different platforms, so I'm going to be watching a couple different screens. Uh, but November, December, and January, we are going to be shifting into a very similar energy that we were in during summer, where it was fast manifestation, where you are going to be reaping a lot of the rewards for the seeds that you've been planting over the last year, but also the seeds that you planted during the summer specifically. There's been like these months that are kind of grouped together to help you make these quantum leaps. So I took a break. I don't know if any of you took a break last week to kind of clear out some energy, but also reconnect with life. Let me know in the chat if you have. Arkansas. Cool. I am in Mexico. That is where I live now. I'm really excited to have you here. Welcome to this space. And feel free also in the chat to let me know if any of you are artists, or activists or healers, or if you're wanting to be. I always love to know who is here so I can keep an eye out. I love referring people, and I also just love building networks and things like that. So I love to know what folks are up to in the community, especially in Z School for the Gifted. And for today, we're going to talk about becoming the frequency of fame, flow, and destiny. And I really wanted to dig into this topic because there's been pivotal moments in my career where I have had access and still have access to quite a few people who are considered famous. And I've had many conversations with them, and many of my friends work in the music industry or dance or are models and things like that. And so I wanted to share some insight that they have also shared with me that really helped me open up my career and just open up to opportunities, regardless of what they looked like, but in a way that was authentic to my energy. I'm going to read this. Explored Mayan desert. It was the most amazing experience. Oh my goodness. When did you do that? How amazing. How amazing. I definitely have some exploration things on my list to do while I am here. But I've been a little busy, so I haven't been able to get out as much as I have wanted, but I've got it all planned out. And I also wanted to remind everybody, if you haven't seen any of my posts, be sure to pre-save my latest song. It's called The Stars in Me. It's really about a reclamation of self and coming into your own energy while trying to navigate love. And you all know I do generational healing, so every song has a meaning behind it. It's channeled song. I write it with love and intention, and it drops on 11/11, which I'm super excited about. 15 years ago. You should go back to Mexico. You should visit again. It's so much fun. So I will be dropping that link in the chat very soon. And also, I'm just curious, do any of you get music downloads? I know a lot of you are gifted, which is why I also have Z School for the Gifted. So I help people interpret their music and their downloads. I'm curious how your team's beautiful job elevating your community. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. Everyone's welcome to also join on YouTube if you want. I'm streaming from a couple different places. I also have this bad alert, like mosquito bite that's driving me bananas on the back of my arm. That's nice. The mother wound is fierce in this life. Yeah, it is very common to have a mother wound these days, depending on how you were raised, but most people do, which is why I do generational healing to help people overcome it and step into their frequency, their destiny, which is why I also wanted to do the Fame, Flow, and Destiny talk. Because as artists, as I've mentioned in other lives, if you've been here, it's really important that we use our platforms and our gifts to be able to share a lot of ethical love and views around community, because the world is in such a chaotic space right now. And we have to do it as a community, right? There shouldn't be any more of this, I'm going to do it on my own. It's impossible to do it on your own. The only way we're going to get out of this, especially if you are in the States, or if you are in any of the countries that are experiencing a lot of trauma and other things, I won't say so the video doesn't get blocked. We are needing to elevate out of that. And again, when you look at all of the other artists and activists that have come before us, it took them being able to make movements in the community in whatever way they could, whether it was marching, creating art, going into politics, working with families in marginalized communities, right? All of this can help elevate the world. And as artists, like, we can use every skill that we have to be able to do that. And it has always been a part of my mission, which is why I share it with all of you, to be multi-talented, to be multifaceted, because I believe that people are dynamic. And when you really look at all the other activists and musicians, like even Bob Marley, when you really go back, they are artists, musicians, and some of them were speakers, like all these things. They did multiple things, but they just get categorized as the one thing that they were most known for, which is in musicians. But a lot of people were writers and started in different places, or producers or dancers. So never be afraid to take whatever. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Never be afraid to broke your elbow. What? I don't know what you mean. No, I didn't break my elbow. It's itchy from a mosquito bite. So don't be afraid to go after your dreams in whatever capacity that looks like for you. There was once a time in my career when people told me that there was no way I was going to make it, that there was no way I was going to create this many streams of income, that there was no way that I could be a coach and also post about my music and do all these things. And I ended up doing it. I ended up doing it. And it's what I do full time. And, I'm also an indie artist, and there are ways to get around these larger systems of oppression and still get to the community in a way that is authentic to our energy. So there's also that part of it as a spiritual teacher. So I did want to share that. Again, let me know in the chat if you are an artist or what kind of work that you do. The next thing I want to talk about in terms of really staying in the flow and being able to hold that frequency and stepping into the spotlight and stepping into your destiny is breaking the generational curse of playing small. I know this is something that gets talked about a lot, but I don't really feel like people paint a good picture of what it means to actually not play small when it comes to being an artist, or being an artist from a marginalized group, or being an artist who refuses to do it the way everybody else does it, because that is really about trailblazing. That is, liberation, no more shrinking or self-sabotaging or dimming your shine. And it takes a lot of repetition, and it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of you learning as one of my podcasts. If you haven't heard it on YouTube, it's all about learning how to say no so that you can say yes. And a lot of times we're conditioned to not say no because that means we're turning something down. But on the other side of that is us actually saying yes to who we are and saying yes to our future. Hi, Wiz. How's it going? Speaking of artists, and then also taking whatever aspects of ourselves we want to bring out into the world and owning it as our artistry, owning our destiny, right? And that can sometimes be the hardest part of doing your generational healing. And for anybody who's interested, I do have spots in More Than Worthy. I'm actually closing tier 3 in November. So now's the perfect time to join. I have some openings. If you want to be able to break those cycles with an artist like myself who understands what it means to be dynamic, to be neurodivergent, to be an activist, to like be authentic in a way that is ethical, right? I don't feel, or I haven't seen a lot of businesses actually talking about coaching other businesses in an ethical way. And that is something that is very important to me, which is why I have Magic to Market for divinely led businesses. But back to ownership, right? Ownership can only happen when you live a life that is primarily built on the foundation of accountability, because there is, I was just talking about this in philosophy, like our group, I can't teach you any sort of new concept, or you can't take on any new things in your life that are beyond your knowledge that you currently have, unless you build a really great foundation of accountability, because the accountability is what gives you the ownership and the power, the resilience, and the drive to be able to progress in your career. Because if you can believe that you are responsible for your actions and that you are capable of making an income and you are capable of living the life that you want to, and you are not going to gaslight yourself, right? Those are all things that fall into accountability. Then it's going to be very easy in most cases for you to be able to stack your career and continue to move forward. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be friction along the way, right? Because building your career takes time. It takes practice. But it means that if you can consistently hold yourself accountable, you can get yourself in and out of any sort of situation and begin to see opportunities around you, right? Which also comes back to owning your artistry, where maybe before you have a life that's less accountable, maybe you wouldn't put yourself out there as much because you wouldn't see like a community meeting as an opportunity to share who you are. Or maybe you wouldn't see, like recently we were talking about WhatsApp groups as like an opportunity for you to put your information out there, right? So it's that main part of your life has to be built on accountability in order to get into the flow, right? The flow is also that flow state that people talk about in spirituality, where you are fully connected to the universe. And as a seer, you're able to just make decisions with the spiritual realm, and it becomes easy, it becomes super magnetic. And that is a state you want to be in as an artist. You can continue to be in your destiny. And remember that everything is already set for you, but it's your accountability to be able to do your rituals, do your healing, do your networking, show up for your community, and understand that you make an impact in the world is what's going to keep you in that flow. A lot of the times when people start to say like, oh, I feel quite stagnant, or I don't feel very well, like all those things, it's because they've lost some sort of accountability about how they are living, or they've allowed their ego to seep in their life in a way where their ego is now protecting them so much that they can't see their path ahead. Not literally see, right? Because you don't have to have sight to see your path, but they can't metaphorically see the flow state path in front of them that the universe is presenting. That's why it's so important to do your healing. Hello. I recently discovered you, and no, I meant to tap in with your universal messages. Thanks for sharing your light. Oh my goodness, hi! Is it Andrea or Andrea? Everybody says it differently. I want to make sure I get your name right. It's so great to meet you. What do you do in this lifetime? Hi, Nia. How are you? Oh, I look beautiful. Thank you so much. How goes it? How goes it? Preach. um, which one is the flow state they are channeling in gamma frequency? So the way I'm talking about flow state is more so the flow state of being like one with the universe, not necessarily in tandem with a specific frequency, if that makes sense. I'm talking about it generally. It is the first way. Okay. But let me know also where you are at on your journey, because today we are talking about fame, flow, and destiny. And again, if you haven't pre saved my song, I highly recommend you do it. I'm going to drop the link in the chat so everybody has it. Obviously, I don't know how to do that on TikTok, so that's unfortunate. But I'm going to drop it in the chat right now so everybody has it. And as another announcement, I'm going to be making a video a day on empowerment, to help encourage everybody to go out and spread your wings, and also remind you of the stars in me. Because for anybody who's new here, we really kicked ass when it came to the competition to open for Gwen Stefani and Doja Cat, and being able to beat out like thousands of people and like get to top 5 was such an honor. And so I really want to celebrate in another way by dropping this song and do it as a community again. So if you could pre-save the song, I really, really appreciate it. And as an artist, it helps me help more people. And as you know, in the past, I've launched other songs along with workshops, like Straight to You was connected to My Body, My Choice. So I am an artist and an activist. For anybody who's new here, I just wanted to explain that. I'm an education consultant from New York City. We work with different schools to lead wellness workshops for students, staff, and families. Beautiful. I'm so looking forward to following your journey and manifesting alongside y'all. Yay! Also, if anybody hasn't been before, you definitely need to come to Thursday's class. So I teach Monday twice, Magic to Market, and today we went over crafting your signature offer. There's a class in the morning, there's a class in the evening, so usually after this live. And then Thursdays and Wednesdays also is an extra time, but usually for international folks. Thursday, we do Z School for the Gifted. So it's all about spirituality, and I'm digging into a bunch of stuff, answering questions, channeling energy, and usually doing some sort of led meditation. You can come meet the community and you get access to the private chat afterwards. And then Friday is the Art of Love and Magnetism, which I absolutely love. So definitely come say hi. I love seeing all you new people. Let me look at my notes really quickly because okay. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about as an artist and being in flow and being in alignment with your destiny is when you begin to do the things, let's say, since we're talking about artistry, or if you are creating a business, like whatever it may be for thanks with whatever it may be for your life, like let's say your spirit and your ancestors are leading you to be a yoga teacher or something, right? But then you're like, how am I going to be able to do that? How am I going to afford the yoga classes? How am I going to in order for you to get to that state of flow with the universe, right? You're already slightly in it because you're receiving the messages, but to fully lean into your destiny would require you to use that accountability to be able to practice your yoga every single day, right? Like that's a very basic example, but it's the same thing if you're going to be a singer, right? Usually your destiny is also connected to something that you've done many lifetimes before in some way, shape, or form, which is why it feels so good and easy when you do it, but also sometimes you will fear it because you know that it's going to bring you some sort of really big, beautiful outcome, and your ego can sense your soul trying to bring that in. So doing the small actions every single day, like if you are a vocalist, doing your warm-ups, writing songs, playing your guitar, or if you want to dance, going to dance classes, like whatever it may be, taking it step by step every single day is what's going to help you. Even if you can put it on your calendar, that's going to be great as well. and talking to a lot of my friends who have gained a lot of popularity, one of the most important things that they always mentioned was that, like, one, they didn't care. They didn't care what people thought after a certain point, and they strongly believed in themselves and their ability to hold themselves accountable, like to be able to follow through for themselves, because they were so in flow state and aligned with their destiny that it became a self-belief that motivated them from their heart space and gave them the energy to be able to move forward. So let me know in the chat, what is something that you believe in to your core about your life, your destiny, about like your flow, being in alignment with the universe, that is so meant for you that you're willing to continue to be accountable for. So what is something in your life? I want you to write it in the chat. Hi. I pray you and everyone has a blessed day. Thank you. Sending you lots of love. I'm not better than any man. You're great. Everybody's awesome. Where's some sparkles? Where's some sparkles? Hi, Elle. Again, let me know in the chat what you believe in, what you stand behind. I like your makeup. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Elle. Thanks. I appreciate it. It was content day. It was also photography day, and I've also got video day coming up. Showing up with my art practice. Oh, hell yeah. That literally, you are so aligned with your destiny. I've known you for like a couple years and it's redonkulous. How is your art going? How is your art going, Miss Wisdom, who also has a clothing line, by the way? It's really amazing. But let me know in the chat. I know there's a little bit of a lag, which always seems to happen. But another thing I wanted to talk about for today as well, which is actually becoming the frequency of fame and flow. So go a little bit deeper into alignment, which is what we were touching on. Also remembering to not chase. Let me read this comment. Following what lights me up creatively and knowing it's God's plan, the universe's plan, etc., that I have been trusting and going with the flow, which doesn't make sense to everyone. Yeah, it's not supposed to make, that's what's so beautiful about manifestation, because it's not supposed to make sense to anybody. Your destiny is not supposed to make sense to anybody, because your destiny is meant for you. Your destiny is literally meant for you. So the only person it has to make sense two is you, kind of, but not even, because the universe is piecing it together in a way that your little brain cannot fathom, right? Money, family, God, the order changes every once in a while, but basically those things. It's so true. I love that. We love God, don't we? Yes. It's going great. Been expanding with mentorship and workshops for other artists. I love it. I love when people start making an impact with their destinies. It's so beautiful. What else do you stand behind? Holistic healing taking place of Western medicine. Yeah, Western medicine has... No, don't even get me started. I have to put it into a different live. Don't get me wrong. I do come from the sciences, so I have a different approach to medicine in general, but I do a different type of medicine, and I do see the opportunities within Western medicine and where it has gone wrong, as someone who has been a part of Western medicine, not practicing, but on the receiving end of it, and has almost lost my life in that space. And so have many others. So I fully believe in, cultural medicine. And it's also why I teach Ayurveda, which is the sister science to yoga, which I absolutely love. I accidentally painted my face the other day and thought about you. Wait, that is the funniest thing, because yesterday, when I was doing painting with my friend, she had a bottle and she squeezed it and it just exploded all over her face. So that's great. It was totally in alignment. Everybody's swirling their face with paint. Nothing makes sense right now. Of course, it doesn't. It never does. Let me tell you how many things I've manifested, like in my career. It never made sense on how it got to me. Like, I literally sat there and would write in my journal, like, what in the F? Or like, no one can write it better than God. I'm like, I'm going to go take a nap, because if I even try to think about how to piece this together, I'm gonna go bananas, right? Like you just kind of enjoy the journey. Yeah, you just enjoy the journey. But again, reminder for this next part is to, to not chase down your destiny, right? That's where that flow state comes in. That's where that alignment comes in of allowing yourself to merge energies with the energy of the universe, right? We have our physical body, which we are all beings, right? Because this is a space where we're not going to spiritually bypass, we're not going to disconnect from our bodies because that's toxic. We are going to acknowledge that we are people, we have trauma, we have minds, we have all these things, but we are also energetic beings and we are also a part of the earth and the universe. And so to be in flow, as above, so below, we have to master our physical body and we also have to master the spiritual realm in the sense, not like, oh, I'm going to go master at CashApp Records and I'm going to like know all the, no. What you need to do is practice merging your energy with the universe so that you can actually begin to understand how the universe speaks and what it's telling you about your flow state and be within that flow. Someone yesterday was like, it's like the turtle from Nemo, you know, when you catch the current or whatever, like be in your current turtle flow state. Just jump in, right? Yeah, that's why I've stopped watching tarot vids right now too. Because yeah, and that's the thing, right? There is a time and a place for different resources for different people, depending on where you're at on your spiritual journey. There are going to be times when tarot videos are going to be helpful, and there's going to be times when tarot videos are not going to be helpful. There's that line of, are you being hyper codependent on something external to the point where you're not actually making any actions, or are you using it as a tool to help you, right? Like I, for myself, like I have specific readers that I go to and it's built into my life. Like it's built into my life because I've learned the patterns of my leaps now that it's like, okay, this is when I need to see them. This is when they're going to pop up. This is when I need to get advice. You begin to learn the language of your energetic cycles and how to move in your flow state, even as you elevate, because when you align your physical body with the earth and Pachamama and on all this energy, you can align it with the spiritual realm because they're all connected. Just like astrology, right? It's all connected, and you have elements in you. So allow those two parts of yourself to come into alignment. That's why I love Ayurvedic medicine and I love yoga, because they're sciences and they go together. When they're practiced in unison, it is when you can achieve a state of bliss and enlightenment, right? When you can be in your physical body and also in your spiritual body, and they are together in union, right? Yoga, that's when your hands come together, it means union. So paying attention to that, it's making sure that you are taking the steps that are necessary to move forward in your flow state, listening, receiving, growing, but also staying focused on your destiny, to help yourself become the star, as in become the physical star that your soul star already knows it is, right? That's why sometimes you have a deep soul recognition when you meet someone or when you do something, when you perform on stage, when you finally let go, when you write that song, when you paint that thing, right? You might be activated in a really heavy way because you're meant to do it. You're meant to be a star. It's easy for you. I've had a download about I meant to receive in a flowing capacity of aligned femme and mask energies. I've still been feeling the overly mask way of doing things instead of simply being in that flow. Yeah, everybody has, moments in their life where you're gonna float between, as you should, float between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, that energy, because it belongs in everybody. It is in everybody. And when they come into union, when you're able to notice their shifts or keep them balanced, really, life becomes so much easier for your manifestations, and you know when to use them, like when to surrender to receiving, when to be in your masculine energy to create change, to break through that ego hurdle, to alchemize your sacred rage, to create whatever you need to create in a masculine sense, maybe the backside of running a business, and then maybe the feminine side and the facing of the business, right? It just depends on what you are trying to create, but not allowing the energies to just become one frequency in your entire life, right? Like if I were to consistently leave, which I had in the past, been in my masculine energy, gender aside, my more fiery energy, I would get very burned out. I would have stomach ailments. I wouldn't be able to like really maintain friendship because they annoyed me. All right. It was like I was heavily masculine in a imbalanced, fiery way to the point where I was like, if you're not on my calendar, I'm not gonna see you. And I'm like, get out of my face. And while that is advantageous in certain parts of your life, it wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy. And so you have to learn how to be in alignment and be in that flow and also balance your calendar. And as someone who's an entrepreneur, like some of you are entrepreneurs, are wanting to be on beautiful face art. Thank you. Wanting to be on entrepreneurs, do let me know in the chat where you are at. You have to find that balance. And then that's when like your human design and stuff comes in, right? Like does anybody know their human design? I love when we talk about human design. Feel free to drop your human design in the chat. But I'm a projector, right? So what do you do? Like I need invitations. So I have to be really good at magnetizing. And I also need a lot of rest and I need naps and I need all these things because I can't function in life. I can't function and guide the other signs, which is what projectors do to help guide the other signs to be like the motory people and do all the actions. We're like the visionaries, can see everything at one time and help out. But I can't do that if I'm constantly in a more fiery masculine energy because projectors aren't really like that. And it's not feasible and I can't receive gifts from the universe that way, right? It's the same thing with like healing your body and healing your chakras as well. There's a time and a place, right? Maybe if you're healing your solar plexus, which is a little bit more fiery, you would lean into that masculine a little bit, even doing some ab crunches, working out. If you're going to heal your heart space, maybe you would lean into your feminine energy a little bit more. Your lower chakras would likely be more in your feminine energy as well, especially if you are someone who is wanting to hold space for a child and things like that. But it also rules your place of money and your ancestor connections, which takes more intuitive energy. So you don't necessarily want to like go into healing with your lower chakras in a very masculine way, right? Because that's very intrusive. So you have to know how to balance your energy out at any given moment. I've been stressed about getting stuff and forcing stuff to happen, but I know that's not helping. All I know is I can go live and play ukulele. Yeah, you just like one day at a time, right? It's super easy to get caught up in when is the outcome going to happen? When is the outcome going to happen? Or you can stay in this energy of, I'm really grateful to be alive today. I'm really grateful to be able to take care of myself today. I'm really grateful to not be in a place where there is destruction. I'm really grateful to be able to have internet. I'm really grateful that I can speak to people who can help me. I'm really, right? Like if you have to be in that energy of saying what you are grateful for every single day, do it, especially when you are in the midst of quantum leaping and all that stuff, especially as many of you are gifted in seers, right? We can see outcomes. We can see it. There's no sense of time because time doesn't exist. We don't know how long it's going to be there in our time. We don't know if it's going to be 5 years, 1 year. You might be 75 by the time you achieve it. That might be a whole different lifetime, right? So it's like the whole point of your journey is to enjoy life and be in a state of peace. And the more you are in peace, the more you are in flow, the more you are in receiving, the easier that's going to be for you to achieve that lifestyle, to achieve that income, right? And I know I've mentioned this before on other lives, but you know, something I always share is when I was deep in poverty, but I was still trying to run my business, right? Because God was there encouraging me, keep going, keep going, keep going. There was a reminder of, hey, you are protected. Why don't you take a nap? And every time I took a nap, for some reason, I got a new client. And it was always the weirdest thing. But it was because my energy wasn't in a forceful energy. My energy was at peace. My energy was stable. I was calm. I was happy. I was enjoying things. And so my energy became massive and magnetic. So I didn't have to do a lot of things. But it didn't mean that I stopped doing the day-to-day work things because I still had to run a business, right? If I wanted spirit to trust me with helping hundreds of people, then I had to be able to run a business for that many people, which meant I had to click buttons, right? So sometimes there are practical things that also keep you in alignment, but also doing other things like relaxing your energy. For me, it was cold plunging a lot, going on walks, running marathons. I mean, it's still those things, but like I had to fill my cup to balance that harsh energy and then be able to heal what was actually beneath that, which was a lot of fear and ancestral wounds and um, being scared of being houseless again or being in poverty or having body trauma, like all those things. So I was like, if I rest, I might end up in that place again. And right now I'm in a phase of my journey. When I was talking to myself back then, right now I'm in a phase of my journey where spirit is having me rely on myself and them. So I had to be able to get myself out of situations and learn my worth, right? And that's why it happens so much to people, where you might find that spirit's like, I need you to be in a little bit more of a hermit mode, or I need you to be in a more reflective mode, but I also need you to do the things, but I need you to do it without 15 million people distracting you. Like, can you handle that? Because you're learning your self-worth. You're a generator. Of course you are. Of course you are. I can totally see that, which is interesting because you have such like earthy Taurus energy. You're an interesting generator. That makes sense about being at peace and helping with still doing what you want to do and relaxing my energy daily. Yeah, exactly. Like there has to be some sort of balance, right? And then there's going to be astrologically, there's going to be times where you're going to need to tap into your fire energy, where it's like your brain might be on fire, but you're still manifesting, but you're still staying balanced. It's just, you're just one big flame ball going through in the universe so that you can get momentum, right? Like there's literally astrological energy like that, which we're kind of shifting into that again for this next month. Even though the seasons are changing, the energy manifestation wise is going to be like this. So you have to be able to balance that out with the coolness and the calmness of the winter season. I love this energy. You're Inzi. Thank you so much. I'm so glad God told me to take a rest. I worked so hard. It's like, I need a rest. I need a rest. I am a Taurus. Oh yeah, that's funny. You've got this like, you're an interesting generator. It's so like, but Tauruses are so good at being steady, at like repeating the same thing like over and over and over again, like I'm a good and steady Taurus, but in the best way. That's how I just feel the energy. Right now, I think I'm mastering myself and my energy. I'm taking it one action at a time to not get overwhelmed, and that's helping me through my to-do list. Beautiful. Gonna add more naps. Amazing. Amazing. Naps are phenomenal. I did not take a nap today because my schedule was quite busy, but I did have like 10 minutes to just lay like this. I'll take it. It's so much fun. Definitely make some time to rest. And for folks who are joining right now, if you haven't already, please pre-save my song. I really appreciate it. I'm going to drop it in the chat one more time. Again, it drops on 11/11. And, I was just reminding everybody of how much we killed it in the Gwen Stefani and Doja Cat competition with iHeartRadio. And so I know that y'all can share this link and make sure that people pre-save the song. I'm taking a different approach this time. I don't really do a lot of pre-saves because I was really pushing my music through other platforms because I wasn't enjoying Spotify and how they favor ads, like paid ads and all that stuff. And so I'm going to do this in a very organic way. And seeing the momentum that we were able to get this summer, I know that if we pre-save this and share with as many folks, that we can really make an impact, because you all know it is a part of my dream to also be on stage and share messages of community and activism and healing, which we really need right now in the world. I hope it showed that I pre-saved it. I had a weird time logging into Spotify to do it, but I'm not premium at the moment. I don't think you have to be premium. Hopefully it worked. Hopefully you don't have to like do it again. And I'm so old. Are you on Pandora? I am on Pandora, but I don't know if there's a I don't think it has the Pandora link right now. Yeah, you just pre-saved on Apple. Wisdom, you have to pre-save my music. You have to pre-save it right now and tell your whole family. Tell your sisters and your mother and your father. Tell the spirits to click buttons. She's also very, very medium shippy. Also be listening, just working. Okay, great. Yeah, definitely pre-save it. It's in my link tree. I'm over here looking for it on your profiles as we speak. Going up. Yeah. I think it's like the third button down on my link tree. Yes, just saved it on Apple. I love you all. Everybody, pre-save. Pre-save. If you have family members, send it to them. I'm literally going to make one video a day about empowerment tips, but also to remind people to pre-save, because the algorithm went bananas when I did that competition. And so I know that we can do that. I know that we can do this. I refuse to back down. This is me being in alignment, everybody. This is not chasing, because I already did it one time. Spirit said it was fine. Mia is also saying, thanks. Oh, I notice I get overstimulated easily at the moment, so brain breaks are needed. Super common when you are in flow state to get heavily they told on me. That's funny. Super common to get overstimulated when you are in flow state, because you're going to feel so good and this energy is just moving, right? You don't have any distractions, and then all of a sudden, like, someone with a very chaotic energy comes in, or like maybe you turn on the TV and you're like, like, what kind of frequency is that? Right? Like, you're like, I don't understand. Like, the other day, I was sitting with these people and like things kept happening to them. And I was like, they're like, I just don't feel well. And I was like, I feel great. I should go. You know, you got to be able to recognize it and just keep going. Yes, breaks are important. I uploaded designs to Redbubble last night. It felt in alignment. Yay! I'm so excited for you all. I'm super, 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 super excited. I do want to spend the last like couple of minutes asking if anybody has questions. Does anybody have questions before we get going? Thank you for pre-saving the song. I really appreciate it. Please share it with as many people as you can. Every single live, I'm going to remind people. I'm going to be doing it on different phones. I'm going to be doing everything I can, basically. Does anybody have questions? Let me double check. Oh, also, who's read the latest Mango Man story? That was a fun one. It was a fun one to write. I do have to get going in like half a second. Let me look at this schedule real quick. Okay, so I am gonna put a poll out to Z School for the Gifted and for these next two classes, because technically we're supposed to be going over ancestral veneration, which I feel like is going to be a really good topic, considering we are like, ay Dios mío. Hold on, let me look to see what next week is. You know what I might do? Let me know, folks. So next week's class is supposed to be on manifestation, but I think what I'm gonna do is either do ancestral veneration for this Thursday and then bring back the candle magic workshop for the following Thursday, or vice versa. So let me know what everyone prefers at some point. I will be dropping the information in Z School for the gifted if anybody wants to come join. Wisdom, you're here. Oh my gosh, you switched platforms. You switched platforms. That was so fast. So is it just doing what you feel called to do without forcing stuff too much for alignment? Yeah, I think it depends. It can be for the most part, but your connection to spirit and your ancestors and your guides are really going to help with that, right? Because, for instance, for example, there's been certain times in my career, which actually happened before I moved to Mexico, which is why I cut out a lot of my friends, because there was a time period where my ancestors and my guides in spirit was like, you cannot take your pedal, like you cannot take your foot off the gas right now. It was like all fire energy, go, go, go. Like, don't slow down, no resting, blah, 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 work, 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 put in the grind. So that was my alignment. Here it's a little bit different. Before that, it was really different. Like when they had me shut down my business for a year, that was like the biggest fucking trust fall I had ever taken. Like it was the scariest thing I had ever done because it was my only income. And that was a different phase. That was a very healing, alignment, receiving, creation energy. And then sometimes it just evolves, right? Like you always want to be doing the things that you love, but you also want to be paying attention to their divine instructions, which is why healing is really important so that you can differentiate between when you are actually moving forward and you're supposed to be moving forward with a certain energy or when you're sabotaging the situation, right? Because there's going to be a fine line. And like, to be honest, like before I moved here, I had to cut out almost everybody from my circle. Like literally not like I was like my family and my nephew and like maybe a friend or two. And even then they were telling me to be careful because there I was giving birth to something energetically really big that needed to get me over to see overseas and plant certain seeds for my business and my path that needed to get done. And so people being around me constantly saying, you need to rest, you need to rest, you need to rest. I knew energetically, psychically, and like ancestrally and through God that that was not the energy I had to be in. And so I had to like surround myself with like other readers that spirit had brought to me that were also confirming what I was feeling, because I was like, there's very distorted energy around me, which can sometimes be low frequency energy to kind of keep you from what you actually need to do. And a lot of times people don't understand the grit that it takes to run a business and to start a business. Not saying everybody has to do that, but I'm just giving you some examples of what it can sometimes look like in different phases of your journey, because it's never going to be the same. So alignment for me was dropping my entire business and receiving, and then allowing an huge opportunity came towards me, humongous opportunity. My another alignment was working my ass off literally till like I was not sleeping in order to move. And then like, you know, there's just little things that can happen, or it's like I'm having fun and doing all the things because I have to do the things. And I don't know why they're having me do the things, right? But you just kind of get used to it. Like it just depends. You had to come over here for a sec. I don't think I've read the latest, so I'll read when I can. Yes, definitely check it out. How long did you have to practice before hearing spirit? I've always heard spirit since I was little, very, very little. And then, you know, I shared it with people and they like didn't believe me. So then I spent a good portion of my life doubting that energy. And then I didn't hear spirit for a while. And then it was in my 20s again that I started to hear spirit again when I started to do my healing. I'm good with that. Ancestral veneration this week and the rest. Okay, so I'll keep this class theme. Yes, it was easier to get the link here without getting distracted on Instagram. That's funny. Ancestral veneration sounds interesting. Yeah, it's super important. Fire magic, bring in Sophia that now. Awakened dragon. I love dragons. What kind of source of income are you trying to start, DJ Astro? Hi, Tay Talk. How are you? What kind of source of income are you trying to make? Yeah, y'all are sweet. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So I'm going to head out again. Yay, I'm glad you're good. It's so great to see you all. I'm going to head out again. Don't forget to pre-save the song if you haven't already. I'm going to be live Monday through Friday, and Thursday obviously is going to be the ancestral veneration. So make sure that you are there for that. I said Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday, and Friday is the art of love and magnetism. Let me actually look at the theme for Friday. Friday, we're actually going over. Why is this cut off? Now it's shorter. Twin flame and soulmate dynamics. So we will be covering that. Each class has a very different theme. So that is what we're going to be focusing. And I'm sending you all lots of love, lots of hugs. Thank you all for joining. Don't forget to share that link. Yes, I will chat with you all soon. See you later, everyone. I will see ya. Thursday is ancestral veneration. Yes, Thursday in Z School for the Gifted, not on a live here. So if you want to reserve your spot, you have to go to my link tree and sign up for it there. So I will talk to you later. Great question. Bye, everyone. I dream of ancestors often now. See, we do that ancestor work and more than worthy. Hey. Bye, everyone.